We've both got the shits.
Hello. Welcome to the Mother Days podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Wright Olsen.
And I'm Teresa Palmer. We're both kind of half hosts today. We've both been in the toilet a number of times.
I have some sort of gastro situation going on, so it's been a rough few days, you guys. I'm actually wrapped in a blanket right now.
I don't know what I have, but I've been in the toilet 3 times before. What's the time right now? 9:30 a.m. But I'm a little bit like this. Like, this is the way my digestive system goes.
Yeah.
But hey, there you go. Guys, welcome to another solo episode.
Welcome, everyone. It's been such a fun summer so far. And you've been in Malibu, and it's been so beautiful. Yeah. Oh my God. All your like Malibu photos and videos and like your parade that you went to and all the adventures. Like, don't you just love it there?
Oh my gosh. I felt like a real proper American gal. I was like, it was July the 4th, and our next door neighbor here in this little community that we're staying in was like, hey, you guys should come and join this parade. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that they did 4th of July parades in Malibu, but cool. What do we do? And she was like, oh, you just get a bike, you go and get streamers and all sorts of things to decorate. And I was like, oh, this is so cute and fun. But I didn't, for some dumb reason, I didn't realize that we were in the parade. I thought that we just sort of stand off to the side and watch people in the parade. No. We were in the actual parade. We somehow found ourselves in the 4th of July parade. I was like, we are so Australian, and, you know, I do have half American children, but this is their very first experience doing anything like this. Oh, we're just jumping on board this. Let's go for it. We just fully committed. We rode our bikes down, and then we were sort of put in this line with these other cars, and then there was a horse, and there was motorbikes, and like these little electric kids' cars all dressed up. And I was laughing my head off because I was like, this is unlike anything I've ever experienced growing up down under. And people were chanting, like we were driving around these streets. There's like they block off all these streets, and we like Prairie, my gung-ho child who just is fearless, was flying down the road on her scooter. So the whole time I'm just running next to her, just running, waiting to catch her because she's going to like topple over. But people thought she was so cute. We had decorated her little scooter. There were women and men on the side of the road cheering like, USA, USA, USA. I was like, what? Where am I? What is happening? This is so different for us. We don't celebrate Australia Day in Australia, just personally as a family. And then here we are on July 4th, like somehow stumbled into a parade, which was wild and wacky and fun, really fun. But it was long. Like my kids were riding bikes for a really long time. And my sweet mum was pulling this cart, which had 4th of July blankets in it and all sorts of things. So it was a crazy experience, and it's just the funniest to look back on all the videos of us in the actual parade. And I saw a friend of mine who lives in the same community. She started pissing herself laughing when she saw us. She was like, you're in the parade? I was like, oh my God. I don't know how this happened. And she was like, I told you about this. I didn't know you were going to go in the parade. I was like, I didn't either.
Me neither.
I had no idea.
Was she like the neighbor that lived next door?
No, it was another woman who lives in this area with her kids. And she had loosely told me about like, oh, this is what we do on July the 4th. And I was like, cool. And then she sees us. We're like waving at people who are chanting on the side of the road. Like,
oh my God.
And I was like, I've never like felt like, by the way, like more phony. I'm so like Australian. And here I am like draped in the American flag, and my kids wanted like a highlighter on their faces, which was so funny because I was saying we don't celebrate Australia Day. And 4th of July, it's a very like conflicting experience for a lot of people. Not everyone celebrates 4th of July, and we haven't. And then suddenly we're in this parade, but it ended up being really fun. They finished at this school, at just the local Malibu school, and there was like a huge playground and musical chairs set up, and like ice, like frozen ice. What do you call it here? Shaved ice stands,
so
and
good.
Bracelets. And it was such a vibe. The weather was beautiful, and I actually met someone there who knew you, Sarah. A mum. She's got 2 little girls. She's got blonde hair, really cute. She used to date one of Eric's friends. She's back in the day, and now she has 2 little girls.
Oh, yeah. She's amazing.
And
Megan.
Yes, Megan.
Yes,
that's right.
I loved her.
And she came up to me and was like, I'm sorry, I just have to come up and say, like, you guys are the reason I had my dream birth with my daughter.
Oh.
She's like, I read your book. I've been listening to everything. I've been watching the vlogs.
Oh.
She was like, I had the most amazing dream birth. And she introduced me to her little girl. And I cannot tell you, there is nothing that feels greater in life, like hearing about these positive experiences that women are having coming out of this community. That fills me up. It feels better than any other recognition for any other aspect of my life. Like just having someone come up and say, the podcast changed my life. The book changed my life. Look at my child. Like I had this incredible experience. I was totally chuffed. I was walking around the whole rest of the afternoon that we spent there just feeling really like on such a high. I was so elated. It just is like impactful to me. So that was really cool.
That's amazing. I love her. And wow, I feel exactly the same. Like we were sitting at coffee one day and this girl and her partner walked by, and I'm with my kids and Eric, and she just kind of like, she like walks by and sort of clocks me, and I kind of see her clock me. And so I smile, and then she like steps back 2 steps and like stops her partner. And she was like, I love your podcast. I just have to tell you. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. I was like, what?
Oh my God.
It just, sometimes when it's just me and you in our bedroom, like it feels like it's just us, like chatting. And so it's so beautiful when we get to meet all you daisies out there in the world.
I know. And I somehow want to play all of the voice messages. Sarah, we got to figure out a way.
Oh my God. Yeah.
We got so many. And I only came up with this random idea to get like voice messages from you guys for our 100th episode. Like the day before we were taping that episode. So we could fit a small handful in the actual
like
episode.
5 or 6. Yeah.
And then we just got so many more that I'm like, I want to hear everyone's.
So beautiful. They all make us cry.
I know.
It's
I'm like, how somehow we got to get that out into the world. Oh my goodness. You guys are the best. We love you.
The best. Oh my gosh.
Your Switzerland trip. I cannot.
Yes.
I cannot. You need to tell us about it. You've been dropping the most beautiful photos and footage. I am just in awe. It just looks dreamy.
Well, it was honestly incredible. I mean, it was like us traveling with our friend Nikki, and we had 5 kids, and it was just like amazing to It was definitely ambitious. I'm not going to lie. It was like, people were asking like, how are you doing this? And, Nikki and I are like cracking up because every train ride was amazing. But like sometimes we'd have 5 minutes to change trains, and we would have her stroller and like multiple bags and, kids' backpacks and stuffy animals that children were like carrying and pulled out of the backpack on one train. We were like, why is that out right now? And you're just like, oh my God, running to the next train. And so we're kind of cracking up because, we're taking a lot of photos for Switzerland, for My Switzerland. And but we're also like taking so many photos for us. And it's funny because we're like, okay, let's scooch that thing out of here and we'll move this. And so some of it's like, we're making it look really beautiful. And then some of it is like me videoing Nikki trying to like push a stroller down like a rocky path to like a cafe.
I want to see that footage.
Yeah, we've been putting it up. Like she put that up in her stories, but her and I were like, oh, we have to do all the behind the scenes photos at the very end. So if that hasn't come out yet, that is going to be coming out because we have a lot of really funny like behind the scenes moments where it's like all of us in one, hotel room, like just trying to eat pasta and feed the children before like racing to the next thing.
Oh my gosh.
Our itinerary was like pretty crazy. Yeah, it was insane.
Which happens when you are there collaborating with a tourism board, because I've done trips like that before, and they want you to experience all the best things that they have to offer.
It's amazing. It's also like ambitious, so you're like traveling every 2 to 3 days from places. Definitely makes you go like, oh, this is a region that I really love and would love to spend more time in. Mm-hmm. This is a region that's a little like chaotic, or this is a region that's like, whatever it is. Yes. Like if it's maybe something isn't necessarily your vibe or your energy. And then something is like just exactly what you want. But that's the beauty of like traveling all over a country, is you get to see all the different parts of it.
I also love that Nikki is a mom. She's also a photographer. And I have to say, these are some of the most beautiful photos that I've seen of you. And you're in the photos, which I think is so rare when you're a mum, because you're always trying to do selfies and you're sort of like half a face is cut off in the corner. And I'm looking at these pictures and you just look like you're in your element, you're parenting. It's these little in-between moments. And I just thought like, oh, it's such a beautiful reminder to get like the mothers in the photos too. And I think Nikki being a mum herself, like being able to capture you in your element, it is just so beautiful. And I found this, we've worked with this company Once Upon before a lot.
And the photo books.
The photo books. Oh,
they're amazing.
Yeah, they're so good. But they are actually doing a campaign right now about this very thing, which is like getting the mums in the photos too. So they've called it like Mum, It's Your Story Too, which is so accurate because we are the ones telling the stories. We're behind the camera. We're capturing those moments and getting the kids to look up for the camera. And I go through my iPhotos, and I can never, if I ever want to post something on Instagram, I can never find a photo that isn't like with my arm outstretched in the frame. And I'll have to go to my husband's phone.
I was going to say, you have to go to Mark's phone, because like some of my favorite photos of you and of myself are pictures that like your husband or my husband has taken. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'll go through Eric's photos and I'll be like, wait a minute, when was this taken? And like not even know that he was snapping a shot. And when Mark puts up photos of you, I'm like, these are so beautiful and candid, and exactly what you're talking about with this like campaign with Once Upon is like telling women's stories and like making sure that you're in the photos, because when your kids are older and they're looking back on this time, like you want your kids to be able to see their mom with them and their mom on the adventure. And
it's so true.
And not be like, oh, it was just me and my siblings, or like me and grandma and grandpa, or like me and dad.
Yes.
Or like half of mom's face and then the rest of
And you just see this outstretched arm. It's always like the bottom half of my arm. Like, oh, I'm trying so hard to get in the photo. But I also have friends who won't get in the photo because they're feeling self-conscious, or they don't like the way they look in a photo.
Yes.
Or you're that person that quickly like goes through and deletes any photo that you don't like the way you look.
Yeah.
But I look back now on my childhood, and my mum was behind her little red camera and she took photos of me. And I'm so grateful that I have those photos of me. But I'm telling you, I think I have 1 or 2 photos that she is actually in with me. And one of them was sitting on Santa's lap, and she came and sat next to Santa. And another one, she's sort of standing off the side of the frame, and it's the only photo I have of my mum in her 30s. So I don't even, and I have a really terrible memory, and I rely on looking through my photo books that I've printed out with Once Upon, looking through them being like, oh my God, do you remember that moment in Fiji? That was so fun. Or, oh my gosh, that was the time we went to the Crystal Cave in Byron Bay. Like, I rely on photos to help me remember moments. And so when people talk about their childhood, I've got these little pictures that I can look at and remember, oh yeah, that's the time we went to the wildlife park. But I have one photo of my mum when she was maybe 32. So I can't remember what my mum even looked like back then. And do you think I would ever care if she had a double chin or a bit of gray hair or her clothes were, disheveled? Like, no, I don't care about the way she looks. I just wish I had more photos of her. And I just say to my friends who don't want to get in the photo for those reasons, like, you want your kids to remember that you weren't the only one documenting the stories. You were actually there, involved, and you were present with your kids. And I just I really encourage people, and I think this is why the campaign is so beautiful and special, is show up for those moments, show up and let go of being self-conscious, just be in the moment, let someone capture it, because 10, 20, 30 years from now, you're going to be so glad that you had those photos and you won't be thinking about the pimple on your forehead.
It's so true. I mean, I definitely have had those moments. I can remember taking photos even before I had kids, right? I can remember taking a photo and thinking oh, I look so bad at, I was in a bikini or something. I look so bad in that. I probably just want to delete it. And maybe one survived on my camera roll. And then 10, 15 years later, I look back at that photo and I'm like, what was I thinking? Why are we so critical of ourselves? And, and I look at the face and the body and the joy and the everything. And I'm like, why did I even care? Why was I trying so hard? Any photo of myself where I was in something that was tight or a bikini for most of my years until I had kids, because then after I had kids, I had a different feeling about my body entirely. But before I had kids, I did this thing where I would always cover up my stomach, with my arms, always.
Yeah, me too.
And then after I had kids, I just had a different feeling about my body and was bodies are amazing. And even though it's an up and down thing, sometimes I'm oh, I'm not, what is all this, whatever, but still at the same time, I appreciate it. And I just see it differently. And I want my kids to see the mom that's with them all the time. Yeah. And the comfort in being in photos with them and that time with them. And, I love, Once Upon's books, you can actually co-create them with your partner or with somebody in your family, which is so cool. That feature. So all of Mark's amazing candid photos of you,
he can drop all the ones
He can drop in.
And it's easy. It's just like in the corner, there's an icon of two people. So you just click on that and that's how you can invite someone to co-create with you. As everyone knows, I'm terrible when it comes to technology and apps and all. I am so bad. It's like I may as well be my 90-year-old grandmother because I really am not good with it. But that's the great thing is it's like really streamlined and very easy to use with Once Upon. I have created lots of photo books. In fact, I am working on a book for each of my children that I'm going to give them on Christmas Day as the gift from their parents, the non-Santa gift. God. And it is because I've been talking about doing like 0 to 1 book, the 1 to 2. And did I get around to doing that? No, I did not. So it's basically their childhood books. And you can do so many pages in each book that I just started. You can start the project and you can just keep working on it. So I have 4 open projects right now through my app. And whenever I find myself with an hour or 2 spare, I can jump on.
You can just go back?
I can just go back and I can add more photos. So each kid, that was what everyone is receiving on Christmas Day, which is really cute and something I've been talking about doing forever. I do like holiday books all the time. Like we'll go on a vacation and I'll make a book, but an actual just like milestones from their childhood. And I have this, each kid has in the Notes app, because as everyone knows, I like to use my Notes app. I wrote my half of the book in my Notes app on my phone when Sarah and I, when we were co-authoring our book. That's where I did my writing. Anyway.
Just so you know, guys, you can write a whole book.
The Notes app is something I definitely use a lot. But I have a file for each kid, which says like, Bodhi, cuteness and milestones. So I write all the milestones and then cute little things he's said over the years. And so each kid, and including like how much they weighed at this, weigh-in when they were 4 months. And
wait, this is going to be epic. I need to like take your template and utilize that.
Yeah. I mean, there's really no template in my notes. It's just I write the date and then I write the thing that they say or the thing that they did. And I have it for each of the kids. So I'm then merging that information in with the photos for these books on Christmas Day, which is really cool. And another thing I wanted to say is I did have an excuse for not being in the photos, right? So my excuse always was, because I'm so often solo parenting. We don't have a nanny that travels with us. My mum, when she is with us, does not know how to use a camera. And whenever I've asked her to take a photo, our heads are always chopped off. So I was always like, you can either set up a timer, you can position your camera, set up a timer if you have iPhone. I'm sure Android has a similar feature. Or the other thing I've started doing is when Mark's not with us, we'll ask someone to take our photo. It takes 2 seconds to just ask someone, hey, can you take a quick snap of me and my fam? Whatever it is, you get these beautiful little moments taken from some stranger. And it's actually gorgeous to see how they frame it and how they've taken the photo. And some of them are really cute and they'll get all the kids to say something silly or fun. And I have really been leaning into doing more of that after I saw that I wasn't in hardly any of the photos in my own photo album. So that is, that's been really great. And I went on to the website and they threw out some statistics, which actually made me feel really sad. And I just want to read them out so that people are aware of these statistics. So 52% of mums feel that there aren't enough photos of them with their children. 58% of mums say that they are the ones that take most of the photos in their family. I relate to that. I feel like I am the one that takes all the photos. Only 7% say that dad or their partner takes the majority of photos. Mark will take a lot of photos of one particular thing. So if we're in a we're in like a cute arrangement. We're all like sitting on the stairs. He will take about 100 photos of the same photo. Like if you,
that's how I am.
he will literally just be like,
he and I are so similar.
Like trigger hit that white button. I'm like, we don't need 100 of the same photo. Like we're okay to just have 3 different angles and then move on. But it's really funny. I'm always like, that's why you have 955,000 photos, because he takes so many of the one shot. Okay. And the last statistic here is 42% of mums feel uncomfortable and insecure about their appearance when having their photo taken. That one was the one that made me the most sad.
Okay, 1 second. I have to tell you that Wyatt just came in and brought me a piece of toast because I've been so sick. I love you, Wyatt. So I would say like all of those statistics do make me very sad. One thing that I will commend partners for is when I do see them say, you know, hey, will you grab a pic of me and, the baby? Or, hey, will you snap a pic of us right now? And I see Eric do that a lot. And I think it's so great because he'll be like, hey, will you take a picture of us? And, they'll be out like paddleboarding. And I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about like taking a photo right now. Right. And so I'll grab my phone, I'll take a bunch of photos. And then it reminds me to say, hey, will you take a picture of, me in winter, or take a picture of us running down the beach, because he's really good about it. And there's something in that too, is like sometimes as a partner, you don't necessarily, or you're not thinking about it, or maybe you're in the moment, or maybe it's just not your thing or your go-to. There's also something to like, go ahead and voice it and say like, hey, can you take a picture of us right now? Or there's a sweet moment that you wanted to remember, or this event or whatever it is. So I saw idea. When you were talking about the statistics, we partner with Once Upon a lot and we love them and think they're amazing. And I looked on their site, they have a contract that you can sign with your partner. Did you see this?
Yes. It's so cute.
It's actually so cute. It says, I, as a mom, hereby solemnly swear to, and then you check off these things. Get in the photo. Let people take my photo. Ask people to take my photo. Not delete any photos.
I'm definitely
guilty of that. Yeah. Although there's like 97,000 photos on my iPhone. Most of them are of like a drawer that Winter took a picture of, or, my children. And then it says, focus on the feel of the photos, not what I look like. Invite my partner to co-create a photo book with me this summer. So it has that for mom and for dad, and then you sign it together. So it's really cute.
It's really so stinking cute. You can hear my kids in the background. Everyone is being so loud. I'm like, why does everyone know that I'm doing a podcast? Like, this is just so funny. And now they're like, everyone knows. Now we're outside. Anyway.
Do we feel like a muffin is a bad idea? Well,
I wouldn't do
Gastro?
muffin. I would not do muffin. I would not do sugary. We need to stick to plain toast. You need to bind that tummy, girl. Oh my goodness.
I don't know if you noticed while you were talking, I like ran to the bathroom very, very fast and then came back.
I was in the middle of telling my July 4th story, and I was like, she's off. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I know where she is.
I had just drank some coconut water, and then I was like, oh, and it went right through me.
Oh my God. Here we go. I'm like that with green juice. The moment I have a green juice, I'm like, do you know that I had, when I was eating fish, I think I've told this story before, maybe. I lived round the corner from one of my favorite sushi restaurants in the entire world. It's called Izakaya by Katsuya. Guys, you're just going to have to deal with the kids in the background. I don't know what they're doing. I'm just like, look, there we go. There's some like ambiance for the episode. Anyway, so I live around the corner from the sushi restaurant. I was in my hyper like must only eat clean food stage of my life. Anyway, I remember that. Sashimi.
We were friends then.
I had sashimi almost every day. In fact, definitely every day. And I ended up with mercury poisoning.
Poisoning.
I had mercury poisoning, which turned into like IBS. It triggered IBS. And no joke, shat my pants so many times because my diarrhea was so bad. Guys, this lasted for 18 months. 18 months. I would eat something. Within 5 minutes, straight in the bathroom. I was shooting Warm Bodies at the time. And I remember being at this restaurant, this sushi restaurant with Nicholas Hoult and Bruna Papandrea, the producer, and Jonathan Levine, the director, and John Malkovich was there, who played my dad. Anyway, the whole gang. And everyone's like, we want to go to sushi. And I was like, oh God, sushi. Because since the mercury poisoning, because I had been eating too much fish, I knew that if I had sushi, like it was all over. But of course, I wanted to join in the cast dinner, and we ordered stuff to share, and I was like, all right, I'm going in. I'm just doing this. And I remember taking like yellowtail sashimi and like putting it to my mouth, and I was like, I know exactly like what the next 2 days is going to be like for me, but I wanted to just be a part of the gang. So I had it, and immediately, like less than 1 minute later, I'm like, sprinted to the toilet. I sat on that toilet for like 30 minutes. I was just gone. I wasn't even at the dinner anymore. I was like, like it was unbelievable. I lived like that for 18 months. It was.
How did you heal your body?
So I had cut fish out entirely. I could not have it because of the mercury. Fish went. I started eating white, like very bland foods. So I had white rice, plain.
Whereas before you would say, I don't eat rice. I don't eat anything starch. I don't eat
nothing starch. I went the opposite. I was like bread, plain bread. I had bread with olive oil a lot. I had like starchy carbs, everything that was like stripped of nutrients and was white.
My God.
Do you know what I ate a lot of that really helped was oatmeal. I had so much porridge, and that really helped to rebuild the system. So I cut out fish and then had all of that stuff, which was really good, and then transitioned into a vegetarian diet. And that was it for me. Like I've never looked back. And then obviously, you know, I'm now vegan. So I dropped the dairy. And my tummy has never been better, but it was really rough. I can't believe I remember I think I've told this story as well. I was on safari with this problem. We were looking at the lions, and I was like, I got to get out of the car and shit. And they're like, no. And I was like, yes, me have to get out and shit all over ground. And they were like, well, we can't stop here. We're in the middle of like Kenya, like where there's like we're on safari, there are lions around the car, and I was like, don't care, I'm not shitting myself in front of everyone, like I need to get out. And so this poor guide who took us on this safari, he had to stand by the back of the car because we were out in nature with these animals. And I was like, I'm so sorry, please block your ears. I went by like so close to the car, and I just like dropped my Dax and like diarrheaed all over the floor, like all over the ground, was like, like, and you know, we have a car full of people, and I had to just be so straight up with everyone. Like, I'm so sorry, I have this IBS. It means I have to go to the bathroom all the time. People were like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, we don't need the overshare here.
God, you poor thing. I had the exact same story as you, to the like doing a movie and going to the cast dinner. I did American Made. I went to the cast dinner with like all of, you know, it's like the producers and some of the cast, and we went to have sushi in Atlanta. And I got there, I was so excited because I hadn't had sushi in so long. We've been shooting for a while. I think we only had 2 days of shooting left. And it just, the whole thing had been like such a dream. And so I get there, I'm like, we're ordering everything. I'm like, oh my God, I get to try all this stuff that I never normally order because it's too expensive. And I'm a cheapskate.
Yeah.
So
Toro, all the Toro.
Just like, they're like, should we order this? And I'm like,
yes,
should we order
the
this?
caviar.
Yeah. And so, and the uni and like whatever. So I was like so excited. And I started eating right away, like little things that came up, about 3 bites, 3 sushi pieces in. And my stomach felt weird. It felt hard and like had this like feeling of like a, almost like, like a hard baseball was in it all of a sudden. And like in the upper area, the upper like gastro-y like area. And I was like, gosh, I'm like feeling strange all of a sudden. I wasn't drinking or anything. And we were shooting the next day. And I was like, I don't feel right. And I turned to my friend Kim and I was like, I'm feeling weird. Like, I think I have to go to the bathroom. I proceeded to be in the bathroom for also like 30 minutes. Someone was banging on the door outside. I called Sonia because Sonia was my nanny. And that's where we first met is we did like the movie together and she was taking care of Wyatt, who was so little. And I called her and I was like, Sonia, you have to come and get me because I think I may not make it even from the car to where we go. Like, I'm not okay. God. And I was like, something's wrong with me, but like, I can't get off this toilet. Every time I stand up, I have to sit down and go to the bathroom again. And she was like, oh my God. She's like, okay, Wyatt and I are on the way. And I was like, thank you. I literally come out of the bathroom sweating. Tell everyone, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm not feeling well. Something just hit me. And Kim's like, are you okay? And I was like, not really. And obviously I was in full like white sweats, and like I'm wearing like the cutest dress and like I'm like, why am I in a dress right now? This is so bad.
No.
And I like was like, okay, I have to go, everybody. And like ran back to the bathroom to go to the bathroom until Sonia got there. And then she got there and I got into the car and I was like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. I was like so close and like raced into the house, proceeded to be sick for the entire night. I probably went to the bathroom like 50 times in the night. She went out in the middle of the night to get me Imodium and like something else because I had to work the next day. It was the scene in the airplane, but it was the stunt part where we were connected by harnesses inside of this gimbal in this airplane. And so we were harnessed together and harnessed to the airplane, and the airplane was on a gimbal and it was like flipping around in circles. So I had been up all night with like either I ate something weird from the day before or like whatever it was, but I was fully sick the whole night and on Imodium and like so much coconut water. And then had to get into that stunt. And I didn't say anything because I was just like, I'm just going to power through because I've got this. This is our last day of shooting and we just got to like knock it out. And I was actually fine, thank goodness, because by the time, I had gone to the bathroom 875 times that night, I got everything out of my system. So I was actually good the next day. I just needed to hydrate. So anyway, it was just hearing your story. I was like, I had that same experience.
I just have a very sensitive tummy as well. Like my stomach is so sensitive, but I always thought it was because they say that like a 12-second poop is very healthy. And so I call them 12-seconders. And I was like, I have like a 6-seconder. Like I'm at that rate. That's how fast I'm like in and out, boom, boom. Like I just do my thing and then I'm out again. Which is so funny.
I bet I'm not even in the bathroom 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Because then I like wash my hands, but like the whole situation goes very quickly.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Very fast. Actually, from the time I have to go until I get to the bathroom is very fast. Me too. It's like
when I need to go, I'm like you, like that story from the other day that everyone laughed at. Oh. Do you know how many people slipped into the DMs and was like, you need to tell me immediately which one of your friends that was? Like, and a lot of our friends know the friend who this happened to. And they were like, oh my God, that's so funny that you brought that up.
That's really funny. I had people DMing me guessing people's names. And I was like, first of all, I don't even know who it is.
I forgot to tell you. I think you do know.
I know.
I think you do know them.
You were like, I'm going to tell you after. And I was like, okay, great. And then once I listened back to the podcast, I was like, wait, I don't think she told me after, or I forgot.
I think I raced to the bathroom afterwards. Like all that toilet talk. I was like, okay, bye.
That's right. You're like,
I'm out.
I got to go. I got to go to the bathroom.
Oh my God. Well, I can't wait for you to, you're in Idaho right now, but I cannot wait for you to get back. And get to see you face to face and have all these little kitties together.
And to go do our big RV trip together.
That is happening. Guys, I said to Sarah, like, we are so nostalgic for our, we had this amazing trip. We went to Spain all together. We've done a few trips, but we haven't done enough trips. I mean, Spain was so long ago.
So long. The babies were so little.
We have to plan another trip.
We've done some nice Idaho time, which has been good.
We had some Idaho time. I think that was the last trip we did as two families. So we've got to schedule it again. But Mark and I was like, what do I feel like right now? And we're massive road trippers, and I know that the Olsens are as well. So I said to Mark, like, that's it. It's like we get that huge bus and the dudes, because Mark, by the way, doesn't let me drive. He does not let me drive. I'm like, what is wrong with you? I'm just as good a driver as you, if not better, because I'm much better than him at reverse parallel parking. So I feel like that tips me over the edge, and now I'm actually better. Anyway.
Does he just enjoy drive? Is that just the part of the road trip that he enjoys? Because that's Eric loves to drive.
So does Mark. He loves driving. I think he finds it meditative, but he also,
and I could care less. Yeah. My butt starts hurting the moment I start driving. So if somebody else wants to drive, I'm always like, dope, I'll be over here.
See, I do love a drive. I love driving, but Mark has this thing where he feels like he has this huge sense of responsibility, and it's his job to keep the family safe as the driver. And he can't, he's an annoying backseat driver or passenger driver. He'll be like, ooh, ooh. He flinches at things. And I'm like, I wasn't even close. I was not even close to the parked car. And he'll be like, ooh, watch, babe, ooh. And it's just so annoying to me that I would prefer he drive, even though I always condescendingly will be like, do you need me? I can pop in here and just do the reverse parallel if you want. I just find it really easy. It just comes quite naturally to me. So I'm quite happy just to swap seats, and he'll be like, shut up. No, because he's not he would do a few attempts at it, whereas I'm like a zip in and out. I'm like, watch me go. It's my special skill. Anyway, I really remember what Pong, my learner driver teacher guy, taught me about when you look in the rear vision mirror and your side mirror, what part of the car behind you has to pop into the mirror before you start turning the wheel. That's just one thing I really remember. And so I do that trick all the time, and I never learned that. I can get in and out real fast. It might be an Australian thing. Shout out to Pong.
I'm really good
in
at
Australia.
Yeah, good way to go, Pong. I'm really good at parallel parking because I lived in Chicago and I had to parallel park my mom's Buick Park Avenue.
Oh my God.
And it was huge. That thing's like a boat. And I borrowed it. I borrowed it from her when I moved to Chicago to drive back and forth because I had a car and then I totaled it, and then I was like, can I borrow your car? And so I borrowed hers for a while. And then I ended up getting hit by a USPS mail truck.
What?
Yeah. And that was a bummer because they wouldn't do anything about it. And it was a whole thing. Yes, it was such a bummer. So I was like, I hurt my mom's car. I totaled my car.
Oh no.
But I did learn some great driving there. So I'm actually a great driver now,
yes,
guys.
You are.
But,
since you drove me all the way to San Francisco.
But I had a learning curve. I mean, you come from the streets of Kentucky, all the backcountry farmland, and you gotta learn how to drive in a city. It takes time.
Oh my God. I love it. Well, I love it. I love you.
I love you too. I can't wait for our massive road trip that we'll do together. And We'll make sure and take lots of pictures of each other and our partners so that we can make a book of our travels.
Oh my gosh, it's the best.
It'll be so good.
All right, guys. Well, you've been listening to The Mother Days. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.